Hello, and welcome back to Examining Fictional Heroes and the authors behind them. My name is Wayne Browder. I hope everyone had a great Thanksgiving. My wife and I did, and I'm a bit more relaxed now than I generally am. However, I have a lot of quotes from many books that I want to pull from tonight. A lot of flipping back and forth between my notes. So you're going to see me moving around maybe a little more than usual. I've also got a lot of commentary. So what I'm going to do right now is I'm going to dive directly into the quotes. And I'll save the commentary for the end. So I want to start with my first quote, which I'm going to pull from The Warrior's Path by Louis L'Amour. No man had made me my brother's keeper, but if no other moved to restrain evil, then I must do it myself. My next quote, I'll be pulling from one of my favorites, if you follow this, Bendigo Shafter by Louis L'Amour. A man does what he has to do. A brave man, what men call a hero, Shafter, is merely a man who is seen doing what a brave man does as a matter of course. Okay, I can't put that in a pile exactly because I'm going to come back to it. Next, I am going to pull a quote from my first from this one also, The Daybreakers, another Sackett novel by Louis L'Amour. Men of violence only understand violence most times. My fourth quote will come from the novel Sackett by Louis L'Amour. This is a novel about William Tell Sackett. I have a feeling that this might have been Louis's favorite Sackett. He wrote more with Tell than with anyone else. But that's just an opinion. I didn't know. When a man faces a man's problems, he has to do it a man's way. Fifth, I'm going to go back to Bendigo Shafter. Too often, when trouble arises, there is too much time wasted in trying to temporize, and it becomes too late for action. Next, I have one quote from the novel Galloway, another in the Sackett series. Yeah, you're going to meet several of the Sacketts in this video, by the way. A man who starts imagining that others think good because he does is simply out of his mind. I have to put these on different piles too, because some I'm pulling from again, some not. Next, I'm going to pull one of my first quotes from Lando, Another Sacket by Louis L'Amour. Give me a second. Every man wishes to believe that when trouble appears, he will stand up to it. Yet no man knows it indeed before it happens. Next, I have a couple of quotes from the novel Matagorda by Louis L'Amour. Not a Sackett novel, by the way. Heavy favorite, though. The first one, these characters are waiting for the main character, Tappin DuVernay, to emerge from a store in town that he's in. And there was a fight. And he killed this dude named Pinto. And the old man in the store didn't think he could do it, because this was obviously a bad man in the region or whatever. He said, Pinto's out there. Will you take care of him, amigo? We'll take those horses too, he added. I think we're going to need them the way the weather is. You killed Pinto Hart? The old man could not find it in himself to believe it could happen that way. He killed himself, DuVernay said. He made an error in judgment. So, in a way, that ends the first segment of what I'm getting at tonight. And here I start on the second. So you may notice a slight deviation in the nature of the quotes. But this is also from Matagorda. At one point, there is a storm, and everyone in the town is taking shelter inside one of the buildings. And Tap hears some people outside who need help, and he's going out to help them. However, 4 of the people who have been trying to stop him from delivering these cattle because of a feud that he was not involved in are outside waiting for him, and they get in a firefight, and those guys die. So he's talking to his wife, and she says, Tappin, those men, the ones you shot, did you kill them? They fell into 4 feet of water, Jessica, and I am not wasting time looking for them. When I got off the ship, 2 of them were on the dock and picked a fight with me simply because I was a well-dressed stranger. Now they've brought me into a feud I wanted no part of. What happened to them ceases to be my concern. That was 4 feet of rushing water, mind you, because of the storm. It wasn't something they could easily stand up in, wearing slickers and guns and things of that nature. Now, I'm going to pull a quote from the novel North to the Rails by Louis L'Amour. You have merely learned that a situation observed from a distance, a safe distance, I might add, is never the same when met face to face. Next, from the novel Passing Through by Louis L'Amour. Most people have no understanding or expectation of violence. They read of it in the newspapers or books, but it doesn't touch them. Again, I'm going to pull from the Daybreakers. It was all right for folks back east to give reasons why trouble should be handled without violence. Folks who talk about no violence are always the ones who are first to call a policeman. And usually, they are sure there's one handy. Next, I'm going to pull a similar quote from Mustang Man by Louis L'Amour. A lot of people hear about violence, but never come face to face with it, and they've no experience with men of violence. One thing I'd learned a long time back, you just can't waste time talking. If there's talking to do it afterwards. Okay. Sorry, I got a little sidetracked because, like I said, I've got a lot of notes. I've got a note, another from Lando, which I find extremely interesting in what I'm discussing. But a hand properly used can be as dangerous as a knife. And a man is not lynched for what he does with his hands. Now I have one more quote, and this one is not from Louis L'Amour, but rather from Robert E. Howard. You will find this quote in the story Rogues in the House. It's Conan's story. Someday, when all your civilization and science are likewise swept away, your kind will pray for a man with a sword. So, you may have noticed a slight difference in the last two as opposed to those in the middle of this video and the beginning. There is a reason for all of this. Right now, and I've spoken a lot, I'm sorry. One of the reasons that I began this series in the first place was because that the characteristics, the situations, and everything else that these men wrote about are the same as what man has faced all throughout history. But right now, there is a man on trial in New York for standing up, for being his brother's keeper, and moving to restrain evil, for doing what a brave man does as a matter of course, and people who are not used to violence or don't believe in it have him on trial and are trying him in the court of public opinion. And I will say this to those people. First off, as the quote from Lando says, you won't get lynched for what you do with your hands. Well, that's what they're trying to do to him. And to all those people who think that he should be punished for what he did, it's going to be very much as Conan said. Your kind will pray for a man with a sword. I'm talking about Daniel Penny. You've probably figured that out. He did what needed to be done in a situation where something needed to be done. He stood up and did the right thing. And he's being tried for it. Make no mistake, guys. Daniel Penny is just an example. He's a bullseye. We're all the target. They do not want brave men standing up, speaking out, or doing the right thing. And this is another attempt to quash that. So, guys and gals, hope all of you guys enjoyed this. I have a new follower. Very grateful for that. I hope you guys are enjoying the content. I really appreciate everything. I hope you all have a good night, a good week. Thank you for tuning in.